public input and use the remainder of the meeting.
Okay, that's fine. So,
Jeff? I'm sorry, want to first?
go ahead.
Okay. This list of suggestions could not be better timed. I know a lot of the folks that worked on it. Everybody deserves a pat on the back. I believe, and I apologize to folks, I've gone traveling a lot, so I've missed a couple of meetings. But I believe I passed out previously a public notice prepared by the city attorney regarding the city attorney's office formed what they call a accountability focus group that consisted of 2 assistant city attorneys, Constantine Severe from IPR, the citizen volunteers, if you know Pastor Dr. Bethel from Albina Ministerial Alliance was a citizen volunteer. A former chair of the CRC was asked to attend. Initially, she could not attend, and by accident I attended, and she asked me to attend on her behalf, and so I became another citizen representative. There was another person from the civil council for the county that was also a citizen rep. And really, this was a staff, let's call it a staff group, that was looking at coming up with suggestions just like this to help implement, of course, their goal, and I'll put this in quotes as bureaucrats, was to try and comply with the federal judgment, but looking at it from their perspective. And that report is being finalized right now, and that report, if it can be more specific, and I just saw a rough draft a couple of days ago, called the city attorney's office to express my concern regarding this generality. This is far more specific, but taking 2 different approaches. All this I'm trying to say is this timing is just excellent. So you look at merging the good ideas from each, obviously, and coming up with approaches that you think are both reasonable, because looking at it from an administration perspective, it was interesting to see their concern with timelines and compliance with timelines taking a higher priority than I respectfully suggest other folks might take. And so having a good balance is going to help. So my compliments to everybody who worked with this, you included, sir. And to the extent that I can try and help guide that report into being more specific, I will do so if I cannot. And to the extent that once they're done, I can be fully authorized to, or at least nothing restraining me from covering specific items we're doing. If that includes going back to the minutes, I will do so. So, if there is going to be meaningful accountability reform, and I can tell you to the extent that as one person citizen, I've been involved with all different aspects. It is broken. The report says it's Byzantine. That's being polite. It is unfair to everybody involved, whether you're a police officer, whether you're a citizen. It is very frustrating as a CRC member to hear a citizen say, gee, the allegations in the complaint don't reflect what my concerns are, and not knowing that until they get to an appeal. Everybody understand that? So in any event, I'll cut it short there, but I just want to let you know the work that this subcommittee did couldn't be more timely. So for a third time, I thank all of you.
What's your name, Victor? Do you mind? Or would you prefer to be called?
Jim, beyond
Are you
bald
Jim
guy.
Young? Are you the guy who got the water splashed in your face?
I am indeed.
You get ready
It did grow my hair.
Do you know, you're a former DA from Michigan, and Mr. Charles Johnson had felt that you were an aggressive racist prosecutor. And that was the, or besides putting the neo-Nazi in the meeting, that was my understanding, is that because Charles Johnson is Jewish, he felt that the neo-Nazi had been strategically legitimized.
Excuse me, but this man didn't have
But he was
anything to
Mr.
do with the neo-Nazi.
Other than he was there legitimizing being a good German. Yes.
That was my hearing.
No, it's no offense to you, sir.
we try to wait to be called upon, just so we can have some order.
I thought I recognized him.
Robert?
My understanding, you used to be a prosecutor, and that you have, and that everyone that, every time a police officer, there was a complaint filed against a police officer, you managed to not indict them, and you got awards from the state police of that state on you being such a DA. Is that true?
No. I received the first Michigan State Police Award to a prosecutor for being very effective in a murder case in which a fellow bashed the head in of a 15-year-old girl, having worked with them.
Oh.
To the extent that you guys know Dan Handelman, I suggest you talk with Mr. Handelman. Mr. Handelman will know of instances in which, even before joining the CRC, I was very critical of the Bureau's handling of certain complaints in which, I can give you a specific example, in which an officer going through a domestic relations squabble specifically was trying to incite an argument with his ex's friend. In any event, Mr. Handelman, I'm sure he probably still has that on tape. So while some of the facts you're saying is correct, what you also didn't say is I used to teach search and seizure and things like that to police. I also did defense work. I've also gone to judges and told them that I believe the police officers were, well, at least one detective was lying and refused to use the confession. So in any event.
What I'm going to ask is that we try and refrain from discussion.
Refrain from the accountability, basically, at the accountability meeting.
I'd like us to try and refrain from
What's up with the neo-Nazi on the cross?
about
What's up with that?
individuals.
Why don't you protest, Mr. Jameson? Don't you have
Back
to
down a little
protest?
bit more on the policy
You're not following.
changes we're trying to implement.
Okay, so I want to talk about that. So,
Sean, so you're next. Go ahead.
okay, thank you. Chief. Okay, so I think that this is timely as well, okay? But I also have questions for the CRC and the IPR, and it's the same question that I asked Constantine when you came to the meeting is, what does accountability mean to the IPR? And I asked him directly as the director. Now, I know that the IPR and the CRC are connected. I don't know how deeply or how they are connected, but they are. I don't think that the CRC, or if in this, what you wrote, Tom, I think that this is great. But I think that maybe you shouldn't count the COAB out as fast, and they could be another arm as far as when a complaint is filed, it goes to two places as opposed to just the CRC to say about their old pals, the IPR. So that's what I'm suggesting
Are you
that.
suggesting it be under the IPR, Sean?
No, I'm suggesting that if the
So it's a
IPR is going to
independent-
go away.
Let me finish. So are you
He's asking a
suggesting, I know, but I'm going to make my question more specific.
Oh, okay.
That's okay. So are you suggesting that COAB should be a parallel arm?
I am.
Not under the IPR, but a parallel.
Let me just intervene. The group that's put this together
Yes.
is recognizing the fact that COAB has a shelf life. We're going to be gone.
But it doesn't have to be.
Maybe tomorrow.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be gone though.
Well, it's going to be gone in terms of the settlement agreement.
Oh, but it doesn't have to be because we're still here.
Yeah, we're humans.
I don't disagree.
May I quickly answer the IPR question?
Mary, Sean,
Yes, sir.
I don't disagree. In terms of whether or not the accountability system should include a different type of community oversight than what is suggested here, that's an open forum.
I like what you suggested, but I'm just saying don't throw away the baby with the bathwater. So if we have the COAB right now, we have that. And we can make a case for making it a parallel arm. If we're going to get rid of the IPR, make it a parallel with the CRC so we can check each other
Okay,
as
we're not
opposed
getting
to...
rid of the IPR. It's the internal affairs part of the police.
Okay, so the internal affairs part. So if we're not reporting out and doing that anymore, then I'm just saying, making a suggestion that the COAB be involved in that. These are the citizens who pay the police to do the work that they do.
Thank you. Good point.
The IPR is a spy agency which is used to humiliate civil rights litigants in U.S. District Federal Court. Everything you say to IPR will turn up in federal court. You will be called stupid, racially pejoratized. Whatever you said on Facebook will be exposed. IPR is a spy agency. If you mess with them with a tongue in your mouth. Messing with them with a grain of salt in your mouth. And no, hey, maybe they've got a good heart, but keep your healthy skepticism, like Greg Kafuri told me in July 2013, when I decided to mess with them a little bit.
I love
And
that.
then I saw what they did to Miss Lisa Haynes in court. Filthy. They didn't even send David Landry, master of Satanism, for the city attorney.
Okay.
Texas misogynist.
Pete,
Okay.
Racist.
So it's a little off topic, but I just want to make sure.
can we kind of
Sure.
stay on topic?
Sure.
You already know you're going off. Thank you for your candor.
You missed the cougar bit, Keith.
Let me,
The first cougar
Mary,
bit.
I want to respond to something you said, and something that people may be interested in hearing. When I was practicing law, and people would come to me with cases against the police or abuse complaints, I often, almost routinely, would tell them not to file complaints with the IPR. And on one hand, that was maybe a disservice to the community because there should be a record of those complaints. On the other hand, to the individual involved, I thought it might create a record or have them saying things that would not be in their best interest in terms of an overall solution in terms of justice, primarily making a simple claim for damage or something. So I share some of your concern about the IPR, and I think it's the nature of the system.
Yeah,
That's not, it's not necessarily
self-sacrificial. One could lay oneself on the altar of the IPR so that one is savaged in federal court later.
And ultimately,
It's an
the
issue.
system is us. Everybody at this table is a part of the system. So we're talking about a system that's in place by us, that we support every day, And so I'm asking